Hi guys, welcome back. This is the second video in the Tetanus the Ghia Restoration series. In this episode we've made a start on the metalwork. We started by getting the chassis on the select jig. We used a set of brackets we have which bolt to the rear torsion housing, but we needed to make the front brackets as we didn't have one to work with a ball joint beam. To do this, we made sure the select jig was perfectly square using a laser level. Once we got that square, we fitted the floor pan, made sure that was square across the front, the back and the length before welding the front bracket together. With the body back over the chassis, we decided to fit the doors to check how good the gaps were, and as you can see, they were pretty terrible. Alex has collected loads of new old stock panels for this project, including a pair of genuine heater channels. Unfortunately, they are pretty out of shape, as you can see here when the front of them is bolted down to the Napoleon's outer section of the chassis. We drilled the spot welds out so we could bolt the bottom of the channel to the floor and position the top section exactly where we wanted it, but the profile of the new floor pans was completely different to the channels. These channels have a return lip that fits over the floor pan, unlike a Beetle, so the pans needed modifying before the channels could be bolted down. The new channels are the lighter style, which are more square and have the lighter square vents. The original channels have the earlier style vents at the front, so we reshaped the front section of the channels to be closer to factory and added the earlier style vents. As you can see, the front of the car was really rotten. I decided to make a start on this front panel while Rich was finishing modifying the channels. We bought a Beetle repair panel for this. I removed the spare wheel well as it's different to a Ghia, and also need to put the factory style pressings in here and on the opposite side here. I removed the washer bottle recess section as we had this one left over from a 66 Beetle we restored a few years back. It needed modifying to work with the 67 1 year only dual circuit brake reservoir. I had to weld a little repair section in there and modify the opening to be the correct size. I pinned it in place ready to plug weld across the top, but noticed where it's spot welded from the factory to the inner support across the bottom length here, it didn't fit the new panel very well. This part of the panel bolts to the front beam, so it's quite an important piece of the panel. As you can see here and here, slightly different dimensions, and the distance from the top of the panel where the fuel tank sits to the beam mounting section here was 7mm different either side. I decided to take the inner framework off the repair panel and use the original from the car once I'd finished modifying the panel for the factory style pressings. wasn't enough material to do the same process on the other side, so I made the same pressing in a small section of steel and welded it into the repair panel instead. Once Rich has finished modifying the replacement heater channels, we started cutting the originals from the car. You can see just how little strength is left in the front of the car with the front wobbling round. Once we were happy the body was in the right position, we made a start repairing the A-posts. We made the panel below the lower hinge slightly oversized because we don't have the A-post or any of the front of the car at the right height yet, and the A-posts are shaped at the bottom where they meet the sill. Once the front of the car is mocked up and we're happy it's all in the right height, and we know where the A-post sits in relation to the sill, we can finish these repairs. And this is where we're at with it now. As you can see here, we've got the rear body mount bolted in. The rear of the channel lines up with the rear cross member, and the rear body mounts are all bolted down. The channels and floors have been a bit of a pain. The left hand channel was also twisted along the length slightly, so we're using this ratchet strap to hold it in the correct position while we do the repairs. The right hand floor still needs some more work before the channel can be bolted down in the correct position, as the channel still doesn't fit quite right. We will need to do this before we can get the front of the car mocked up, which will be covered in the next episode. If you've enjoyed this video and want to see more, please hit the like and subscribe to our channel, as it really does help out. Cheers.